My dad threatened to cut me off if I missed my sister's wedding. Hi, my name is Marcus, I'm 28 years old, and I'm a pediatric surgeon. 3 days ago, my father called me for the first time in 6 months. Not to ask how I was doing. Not to congratulate me on my promotion. He called to deliver an ultimatum that would change everything between us forever. If you're not at your sister's wedding next month, you're out of the will. Permanently. Let me tell you how my family drove me to the breaking point, and how I made sure they'd never use me again. Growing up, I was the invisible child. My sister Emma was the golden princess who could do no wrong, while I was expected to be grateful for whatever scraps of attention came my way. Dad owned a successful chain of car dealerships across 3 states. Mom ran a boutique PR firm. They had money, status, and one child they actually cared about, Emma. Emma was 5 years younger than me, and from the day she was born, I became an afterthought. When I made the dean's list in high school, Dad said, "That's nice," and went back to watching Emma's cheerleading practice videos. When I got into Johns Hopkins for pre-med, Mom asked if I could postpone my acceptance a year to help Emma prepare for her college applications. I was 17. I paid for most of my own education. Oh, Dad helped. He gave me exactly half of what he spent on Emma's state school education, even though my medical school cost 3 times as much. "You're the man," he told me. "You need to learn to handle things yourself. Emma needs more support." Took out loans. I worked night shifts at the hospital. I graduated with honors and $200,000 in debt, while Emma partied through a communications degree Dad paid for in full. The pattern was always the same. Emma's car broke down. Dad bought her a new one. My car broke down during my residency. "You're a doctor now, Marcus. Figure it out." Emma wanted a down payment for a condo. Mom and Dad handed over $80,000. I asked for help with a $5,000 emergency when my apartment flooded. We just helped Emma. "You'll have to wait." Waited. Always waited. But I worked my way up. I became one of the youngest pediatric surgeons at my hospital. I bought my own place. I built a life I was proud of, no thanks to them. And still, they expected me to show up, smile, and play the role of the supportive big brother whenever Emma needed an audience. The real problem started 8 months ago when Emma got engaged to Derek, a trust fund mediocrity who worked for his father's real estate company. The wedding planning consumed my parents completely. Every conversation became about flowers, venues, and guest lists. When I mentioned I was being considered for chief of pediatric surgery, Mom cut me off mid-sentence to ask if I thought Emma should go with roses or peonies. Then came the destination wedding announcement. "We're doing it in the Bahamas." Emma squealed over speakerphone during a family dinner I'd been guilted into attending. 4 days, all-inclusive resort. "It'll be amazing." "The Bahamas," I said carefully. "Emma, I don't know if I can take 4 days off. I have surgeries scheduled." "Marcus." Dad's voice went cold. "This is your sister's wedding. You'll make it work." "Dad, I'm literally scheduled to perform a critical surgery on a 6-year-old that week. I can't just reschedule it," Mom said, as if I was talking about a haircut appointment. "I can't reschedule a child's surgery for a wedding," I said, feeling my blood pressure rising. "This little girl has been waiting for months." "There are other doctors," Emma whined. "But I only have one brother." "This isn't my day, Marcus. Why do you always have to make everything difficult?" Closed my eyes. Took a breath. "Look, I'll try to make the actual wedding day. But I can't commit to 4 days in the Bahamas. That's unreasonable." The silence that followed was arctic. "Unreasonable." Dad's chair scraped back. "I'll tell you what's unreasonable. I've spent my whole life building something for this family. And you can't take 4 days to celebrate your sister? After everything we've done for you." Actually laughed. I couldn't help it. "Everything you've done for me. Dad, I've been on my own since I was 18. We paid for your education." Mom snapped. "You paid for half of my undergraduate. I paid for all of medical school myself. And you know what? That's fine. I'm not asking for anything now. I'm just saying I can't abandon a child who needs surgery." "Always so noble," Emma said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Always the hero. You know what? This is typical Marcus. Making everything about himself. That's when Dad dropped the bomb. You need to get your priorities straight, son. Family comes first. If you're not at that resort for all 4 days supporting your sister, then you're not family anymore. And you're certainly not getting a dime from me when I'm gone. I stared at him. You're threatening to disinherit me because I have to work. I'm telling you what matters, Dad said. Emma matters. This wedding matters. Your choice is simple. I left that dinner shaking with rage. But I made a decision right there in the parking lot. I was done. What my family didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask about, was that I was doing very well for myself. My salary as a surgeon was substantial. I'd invested wisely. I'd been frugal for years while building my career. I had over $300,000 in savings and investments, a paid-off condo worth $400,000, and I'd just been headhunted for a position that would nearly double my already significant salary. I didn't need their money. I never had. But they'd held it over my head my entire life, and I'd let them because some part of me still wanted their approval. That ended the night Dad threatened me. I started making calls. First to my lawyer, then to my financial advisor, then to some extended family members I'd stayed close with despite my parents' best efforts. What I discovered made everything clear. My Aunt Rachel, Dad's older sister, had always been kind to me. We'd grown closer over the years, meeting for coffee every few months. Over lunch the week after the ultimatum, she revealed something explosive. Marcus, there's something you should know, she said carefully. Your grandfather's will. When he died, he left everything in a trust. 1/3 to your father, 1/3 to me, and 1/3 directly to you, with a provision that you'd receive it when you turned 30 or when you got married, whichever came first. I nearly dropped my fork. What? Your father was supposed to tell you on your 25th birthday. The trust is worth about $1.2 million now. Your portion is $400,000 plus growth. It's been sitting there waiting for you. Dad never said anything. Rachel's expression hardened. I know. I've confronted him about it 3 times. He keeps saying he'll tell you when the time is right. Marcus, I think he's been using it as leverage, making you think your only inheritance is what he'll leave you someday. But that money is already yours. You turn 30 in what, 18 months? 16 months. Well, there's a clause. If you want it now, all you need to do is get married. Or you can file to access it at 30 regardless. Your grandfather wanted to make sure you were taken care of, independent of your father. I sat back, my mind racing. My grandfather had died when I was 12. I barely remembered him, but apparently he'd seen something in my family dynamics that made him protect me. There's more, Rachel said quietly. Your father's business. It's not doing as well as he pretends. He's leveraged to the hilt. The dealerships look profitable on paper, but he's made some very bad investments. He's counting on that trust he controls, the portion that was meant for him, to stay solvent. And he's been borrowing against it. Is that legal? Barely. And only because I've been too soft to challenge him on it. But Marcus, if you claim your inheritance now, it might trigger a review of the whole trust. Your father could lose access to his borrowing power. It would force him to face his real financial situation. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Tell me exactly what I need to do. Over the next 3 weeks I put my plan in motion. First, I confirmed everything with the trust's law firm. My grandfather's will was ironclad. The money was mine, and I could access it at 30 or upon marriage. The lawyers were actually relieved to hear from me. They'd been legally obligated to try to contact me at 25, but Dad had intercepted all communications. Second, I spoke to my girlfriend, Sophia. We'd been together for 2 years, and we'd talked about marriage but hadn't been in a rush. She was a fellow surgeon, brilliant and independent. When I explained everything, she was furious on my behalf. Let's do it, she said. Let's get married. Not because of the money, but because I love you and I'm tired of watching your family treat you like this. Let's build our own family. We got married at City Hall 3 days later. Just us, 2 witnesses, and Aunt Rachel. It was perfect, simple, genuine, and free from the toxicity of my parents' world. Third, I filed for my inheritance. The law firm processed it immediately. Within a week, $400,000 plus 14 years of compound growth, $547,000 total, was transferred to my account. The fourth thing I did was the sweetest. I hired a lawyer and documented everything. Every birthday they'd forgotten. Every achievement they'd ignored. Every dollar they'd spent on Emma versus me. Every promise they'd broken. I created a detailed financial and emotional record of their favoritism. Then I waited. Emma's wedding was now 2 weeks away. I'd said nothing to my family about any of this. As far as they knew, I was still agonizing over their ultimatum, still desperate to remain in their good graces. Dad called me exactly 10 days before the wedding. "Marcus, we need to talk about your travel arrangements. Your mother wants to coordinate everyone's flights." "I'm not coming, Dad." Silence. Then, "Excuse me. I'm not coming to the wedding. I have a surgery scheduled. A little girl who's been waiting months for a procedure that could save her life. I'm not rescheduling it." "Marcus." His voice took on that threatening tone. "We discussed this. You know the consequences." "I do," I said calmly. "You're cutting me out of the will. I'm okay with that." "You're what?" "Marcus, don't be stupid. We're talking about substantial money here. Your future." "My future is fine, Dad. Better than yours, actually." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I don't need your money. I never did. I've built my own life, my own career, my own financial security. And unlike you, I didn't have to step on anyone to do it." I could hear his breathing getting heavier. "You ungrateful. Ungrateful." I laughed. "For what exactly? Let's be specific. Are you going to tell me about the college education you paid half of? The help you never gave me? The times you chose Emma over me without a second thought? Please, Dad, enlighten me about what I should be grateful for." "I'm your father." "Biologically, yes. But you stopped being a father to me a long time ago. Emma's your daughter. She's been your only child for years. So enjoy her wedding. Pay for everything. Walk her down the aisle. And know that I'm perfectly happy not being there. If you hang up this phone, you'll regret it. I will cut you off completely. No inheritance. No family. Nothing." "Perfect," I said. "Make it official. And Dad, you should check in with your trust lawyers. I think you'll find that your financial situation is about to get very interesting." Hung up. My phone exploded over the next hour. Mom called 6 times. Emma called crying, then screaming, then calling me every name she could think of. I blocked them all. The next call came from Aunt Rachel, and she was laughing. "Marcus, you should have seen your father's face when the trust lawyers called him. They had to inform him that you'd claimed your inheritance, and that his own access to his portion was now under review because of the irregularities in how he's been managing it. He's losing his mind." "Good," I said. 3 days before the wedding, Dad showed up at my hospital. Security called me, and I went down to find him in the lobby, looking 10 years older than the last time I'd seen him. "Marcus, please. Can we talk?" I crossed my arms. "You have 5 minutes. I made a mistake. With the trust. I should have told you. I was just trying to." "Trying to what?" "Control me. Keep me desperate for your approval. Use grandfather's money as leverage while pretending your inheritance was the only one that mattered." He flinched. "It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. Just like everything else. Emma was always going to get everything she wanted, and I was supposed to be grateful for scraps and wait my turn." "Well, I'm done waiting, Dad. What about the wedding?" I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. "What about it?" "Emma's devastated. Your mother is having panic attacks. The family is asking questions. People know her brother won't be there. Then I guess you'll have to explain why your son chose saving a child's life over a party in the Bahamas. I'm sure that'll go over well with the extended family." "Marcus." You made your choice, Dad. You chose Emma always. You threatened to disown me for doing my job. So now you get to live with that choice. Go to the Bahamas. Spend a fortune on a wedding for your golden child. And know that I'm here, doing important work, living a life I'm proud of, with people who actually value me. I value you, he said, and for the first time he sounded broken. No, you don't. You value the idea of me. The successful son you can brag about at dinner parties. But you've never valued me enough to actually be present in my life. You know what? I got married 2 weeks ago. Did you know that? Of course you didn't. Because you never asked about my life. You never cared enough to know that I've been in a serious relationship for 2 years with an incredible woman who's now my wife. His face went white. You're married. Happily. And you're not invited to celebrate with us. Neither is Mom or Emma. Because you're not my family anymore. Not in any way that matters. I turned to walk away, then looked back one more time. Oh, and Dad. You should probably talk to your accountant about how you're going to cover your debts now that your trust access is restricted. I hear the dealerships aren't doing as well as you've been telling everyone. It would be a shame if people found out the truth. The wedding happened without me. I heard from Aunt Rachel that it was beautiful and expensive and that Dad looked miserable the entire time. Emma apparently had a breakdown when she realized how many people were asking about my absence and why her brother wasn't there. The extended family reached out to me afterward. Cousins, uncles, aunts. People who'd watched my parents' favoritism for years and never known what to say. I told them the truth. All of it. The ultimatum, the hidden inheritance, the years of being treated as less than. The fallout was spectacular. 6 months later, 2 of Dad's dealerships closed. The debt he'd been hiding came to light. And Mom's PR firm lost several major clients when word got out about the family drama. Emma's marriage was already rocky. Turns out Derek didn't like having a wife who expected him to fund the lifestyle her parents couldn't anymore. As for me, I'm thriving. I performed that surgery, and the little girl is doing beautifully. I took the chief of pediatric surgery position and got a substantial raise. Sophia and I bought a house with our combined savings and my inheritance. We're planning to start our own family soon, and our kids will never question whether they're loved or valued. Mom tried to reach out last month. A long email about how she'd been processing and wanted to rebuild our relationship. I deleted it. Some bridges need to stay burned. Emma sent a birthday card. My first communication from her in months. Inside she'd written, "I'm sorry for everything. I didn't understand how bad it was. I hope you're happy. I haven't responded yet. Maybe someday I will. Maybe not. Dad hasn't contacted me at all. I hear through Rachel that he's bitter, telling anyone who'll listen that I'm selfish and ungrateful. The irony is completely lost on him. I don't regret any of it. Not the missed wedding, not claiming my inheritance, not cutting them off. For the first time in my life, I'm not waiting for their approval, not hoping they'll finally see me, not accepting less than I deserve. Blood doesn't make you family. Love, respect, and genuine care, that's what makes family. And I found that with Sophia, with Aunt Rachel, with the chosen family I've built around me. To anyone else out there being held hostage by toxic family dynamics, you don't owe them your suffering. You don't have to accept crumbs and call it love. There's a whole life waiting for you on the other side of their control. And it's better than anything they could ever offer. My name is Marcus, I'm 28 years old, and I'm finally free.